Welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always, here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. Today's subject, we're going to be going over 9.15 and what it entails, as we do have a release date for it, and it's good that everyone's up to date on what is actually coming with the patch and what you can do going into it. So we'll obviously start off with the weekly stuff as always. So the weekly world boss for this week is Nurgash Muckformed. It is the Revendreth world boss, so make sure you hop over there, get your anima, as well as Morgeth in the Moor. Again, same deal, grab your anima from there, grab your conduits and get out. The event for this week is skirmishes, so you earn 50% more honour in skirmishes, arena skirmishes, so make sure if you're looking to gear some characters, you are doing so by that method. And the brawl for this week is one of my favourites. It is Gravity Laps. You basically are flung up into the air very high, and you can reposition anywhere on the map in an instant pretty much, so it really mixes things up every, I think, 15 to 30 seconds. I think it's around that time, but don't quote me on that, obviously. But like I said, we're going to be going into 9.1.5. I did do a similar podcast on this several weeks ago, I believe, but we hadn't fully fleshed out everything that was in there, and with us having a release date for it, we now know basically what is to come fully within this patch. So obviously the start date for 9.1.5 is November the 2nd. That is when it will arrive and be available to play in the live game, November 2nd for NA, of course, and then the EU get it on the 3rd, the day later, which is the usual, isn't it? Feels bad. So we're going to start off with the biggest changes, and obviously the smaller ones will be more towards the end. But Covenant updates, these are going to be massive in 9.1.5. So this is players who reach max renown for their Covenant, which is renown 80 at the moment, will be able to freely switch among all of the 4 Covenants without any cooldown or restriction. Cosmetic rewards such as pets, mounts and stuff that have been earned from that Covenant will thereafter be available regardless of your membership to any of the factions. So if you've got the class or the faction, the Covenant mounts for Night Fae, and you want to go Maldraxxus, which is the case on my Druid, then you'll be able to keep the Night Fae mounts and stuff like that. I believe that you'll be able to ride them, but I'm not too sure on that, because I would have thought you'd still have to be Night Fae, but I would have thought that you would be able to ride them still. Covenant switching and the use of cosmetic rewards will also apply to any alternate characters once the renown threshold is reached on one character, which is massive again. So once you hit that renown 80 on your main character, all of your characters are free to, switch Covenants freely. They can go Venthyr for raiding, they could go Maldraxxus for PvP, they can do whatever they want, whatever they fancy, they can do it. If they want to have Convoke the Spirits as a Druid for one dungeon to try it out, go for it. If you want to be a Venthyr Boomkin to try it out, yeah, sure, go crazy, it's one of them things. So this is an amazing change. They've really pulled the ripcord with this one, because they really wanted Covenants to be a defining choice in your Shadowlands experience, and this is usually something that will come in the patch of 9.2.5, where they open up everything within the expansion when we know that the expansion is coming to a close. So this is when they would usually introduce it, but they've pulled it forward a patch early, mainly because it might be because there might not be a 9.3. 9.2 might be our final patch of the expansion, depending on if they're doing another, I forgot what it is, another patch cycle. So they might end up on 9.2.5 and then go into another expansion. They might end up on 9.3, but it's looking very unlikely. So this is kind of when, this is the only time that they can really pull the ripcord on this and be like, okay, it's not done as well as we want. That with everything that's happening around Blizzard right now, we need to do something to get players back, and this is what we are going to do. We're going to pull the ripcord on everything, give them what they want, and stuff like that, which I'm not too fussed about. I'm not too fussed about at all. I love that, you know, these sort of things are being implemented into the game. It gives you more freedom, it gives you more choice, it gives you a lot more things to think about, and you can have a lot more fun with it. That's the thing. The Covenants are a great thing to like have in the game. For having 4 different Covenants with different abilities that can be stronger in certain aspects of the game, that's amazing, and I absolutely love it. And I think that every sort of expansion should have this, whether it's Legion, artifact weapons, or Battle for Azeroth. I was going to say Azerite armor, but that really wasn't good. I wasn't a big fan of Azerite armor. I do like the Heart of Azeroth, though, the essences that you got, but that was very late on in the expansion. So these sort of things I really do enjoy, and I think that opening it up as like a lot earlier is a better choice, to be honest. I mean, we've stuck with the restriction for a year now, so I think it is a good time to open that up and give people the choice of which Covenant they want freely and daily, pretty much. They could be, you know, Night Fae for a day and then Mount or Necrolord, that kind of thing. So Conduit Energy is also being removed with this, and you can freely swap your conduits without any sort of restriction. Earlier or before the patch goes live, you have these 24-hour rechargeable sort of conduit energy, and you'd have about 10 of them, I believe. One of them recharges after 24 hours, and basically, yeah, you can switch out more than 10 conduits every 24 hours. It never affected me, but it affected other people, so I can kind of see how annoying it could be at times. That's the thing. So it's not a change for me, this one. It's a change for maybe high-end Mythic players or high-end raiders, stuff like that. Completing a Covenant campaign on one of the characters will allow alternate characters to be able to skip that Covenant campaign as well. And it earns the renown and the 3rd soulbind to unlock immediately without having to replay the narrative arc. So this is amazing. So if you've done the campaign on Night Fae, you can skip the Night Fae one, which I've done on my Druid. If you've done the campaign on the Kyrian one, you can skip the Kyrian. Same with Necrolord and Venthyr. Absolutely amazing. I believe the only one that I haven't done fully is the Necrolord. So I'm in quite a good spot for that. I'm not sure about everyone else. But this is a really nice change, obviously. They're making it so that you can skip more content that you've already done and get your character up to speed a lot more. It makes it a lot more alt-friendly, and that's what WoW hasn't necessarily done in the earlier patches of like expansions. So Battle for Azeroth was quite tough to catch up with the Azerite armor and stuff like that. And then when you get to the later patches of Battle for Azeroth, you've got to catch up on the essences. Same with Legion, you've got to catch up on your artifact power, and having these alt-friendly sort of implementations in the game is really good and really healthy for the game, in my opinion. So going off of the Covenants and stuff like that, you have new character customizations. Now these customizations are for the lesser loved races in terms of customizations. So you have Nightborn, Lightforged Draenei, and stuff like new Druid forms and soul shapes for Night Fae, and also Void Elves. And multiple examples of these is the glowing hands effect for Nightborn, different hair colours for Void Elves, different hairstyles and like jewelry for the Lightforged Draenei, stuff like that. So loads more customizations come into the newer races of WoW and the allied races, and I think that there will be more to come in the next few patches, because they originally said that, you know, these allied races wouldn't be shown any love in terms of the customization, and it won't be for a very long time that we wouldn't see this. So I think that they sort of gave in to that, and it's like, oh, okay, we'll give you this, we'll throw you the bone here, pretty much. And the biggest thing for me in 9.1.5 is Legion time walking. Now, this is going to make or break it, pretty much. This is going to make or break the patch. So you can go back into Legion dungeons with Legion time walking, and this includes Legion Mythic Plus dungeons. No idea how that'll work, I'm not going to lie. I have no idea how they're going to do it with gear, but I've heard that some trinkets are absolutely busted from there. Like, there's some trinkets and gear from Legion that were really good, like insanely good, and having them with, say, like a Convoke the Spirits might be absolutely insane, and that's going to be a balancing nightmare, I'm not going to lie. So good luck to them for doing that. But this event will run for 2 weeks, the first time it runs within the game, and then it will resume a regular 1 week schedule for subsequent bonus events. So I believe you've got to wait through TBC time walking, Wrath time walking, Kata, all of that stuff. With the Legion time walking, obviously, comes the Mage Tower. The Mage Tower, just, that was so good. From what I remember of the Mage Tower, it was a masterpiece in endgame content for me. So, for those of you not familiar with the Mage Tower, what it is a single player, I've forgotten the word, it's not a scenario, that's the word. It is a single player scenario, and it is a specialization sort of test. So it really pushes you to the limits of what your character can do. If you understand your class, if you understand your role, your specialization, like, really well, then you will still have a very tough time with this. No matter what you do, you will have a very tough time with this. And maybe if you outgear it, or you're just a god at the game, then fair enough. But I would class myself as a fairly decent player, and what I remember from the Mage Tower was pain. And that was good, to be honest. Now, this challenge is something that I haven't experienced since the Mage Tower or before the Mage Tower. In raiding, in PvP, in anything. It really pushed your character specialization to the limit in this scenario. So if you're a disciplined priest, I know that you have to heal or kill a certain mob without dying, and there's a bleed that you can actually dispel for some reason. I'm not sure the mechanic behind that, but you've got to dispel this bleed, you've got to not die, you can't go he has a massive hit, like the mob has a massive sort of a damage output or burst damage, so you've got to find a way to negate it, maybe pain suppression, get your squishy, your Shadow Fiend to tank it. So you throw your Shadow Fiend out, you fade, he tanks the hit and dies, and then, you know, that sort of thing. So it really pushes your character to do things that your character would not usually do. They wouldn't be DPSing this much, they wouldn't be self-sustaining this much, they'd be healing a tank or something. It's that kind of thing. You're juggling so much on your plate in these Mage Tower scenarios that it makes it, you know, really stressful. And it's not stressful as in, oh my god, I just can't be asked, you know, I'm going to Alt F4 this game, I'm going to uninstall it. It's stressful for me anyway, as in this is a personal, like, test. And if I can overcome this test, then I feel as if I've gained mastery of this class or specialization, that kind of thing. So I played a mage in Legion, and this is when the Mage Tower came out. I did my fire and frost specialization and I unlocked the Fire and Frost artifact weapons from the Mage Tower. I tried Arcane. I couldn't do it for the life of me. It was so different. The specialization, the trial, it was alien to me, which I didn't understand. And that's what makes it amazing, because someone might have had the easiest time doing it on Arcane, but couldn't do it on like Fire or something like that. I looked up videos on how to do it on Arcane, but I'd never gone or never really committed to the Arcane specialization, so I didn't have as much knowledge as people, and it didn't feel as comfortable and stuff like that. So it really does test you, and it really shows or brings out the best of what you can do with that class, and it really is a good challenge. If you have never tried the Mage Tower, during Legion Time Walking, I implore you to try it. It was really fun. It was really fun and difficult at the same time, and the difficulty made it fun. It really did. So I implore you to try it. It's really good. I couldn't recommend it. One of the best pieces of endgame content that Blizzard have ever put out. And that's my opinion on it, to be honest. Okay, enough about the Mage Tower. I could go on about that. It was good. But another thing that they're introducing in this mid-patch is more introduction skippable. And everyone's been begging for this since the start of the expansion. So players who have completed the introduction in the Maw on one of the characters will be able to speak to Mograine in the capital cities to skip on their ults, pretty much. And this is a weird one. I don't know if they fixed it yet, but on the PTR for the patch, so you walk up to Mograine, you accept the quest, and you have to talk to Whitemane. And you talk to Whitemane, I believe, and then you have to walk through a portal. But you have to talk to Mograine before you walk through the portal, otherwise you can't skip it. And what this is you're put on a time restraint, because Mograine will also walk through this portal, and if he walks through the portal, you can't skip it. So I'm not sure if they've changed that in the PTR. Maybe it's you can just speak to Mograine whenever and you can skip, which would be the most logical idea. But it just seems very stupid that you might not be able to skip it if you miss this like minute time window or whatever. It seems very stupid and funny, to be honest. A lot of people will surely get mad at that. Can't wait for the forums to pick up on that and have their fun with it. Island expeditions are also coming to 9.1.5. Island expeditions are obviously a Battle for Azeroth thing, but you can queue with solo or a party, and this is basically players who want to take on an island expedition are able to queue for just a solo one or with a party to enter a normal, heroic or mythic one. And there are a bounty of awards for just going to these islands. So obviously not a lot of people were signing up for the island expeditions. You needed a group of 3 to sign up for the island expedition, and it's like a normal queue pop, like a normal dungeon queue, but not many people were doing these island expeditions because obviously it's the old expansion. It's Battle for Azeroth, it's the previous expansion, and these island expeditions can reward you with toys, mounts, loads of things, pets, stuff like that. So this is a nice little addition that they're adding to people who like to, collect any and everything pretty much. So this is quite nice to see come back into the game and have that sort of a replayability feature added to it. So there's some talent and ability improvements as well, and they're going to look to update a variety of class talents and class abilities, and this also includes conduits, rune carving, covenant class ability, tuning and stuff like that. I don't believe that they got to that, and I don't believe it's going to be implemented straight away into 9.1.5. I believe the only class that got a small tweak was something like Frost Mages, where their damage is increased, but I could be wrong. They could have put something out before then. They might do it a little bit later on. They might do like a tiny patch, a month later or something like that, where they look at the talents and the balancing part of the game. But overall, as long as they're looking at it, and they might change it up consistently going forward, I wouldn't be too upset about that. I just wish that they would look at tuning the numbers more consistently, and maybe every month, every 2 months at the maximum. It would be nice to sort of have a more flowing and changing WoW experience with the damage and the number output and stuff like that. Another addition is remote anima turn-ins. So you can completing quests with the archivist Rosor. I can't say his name for the life of me. Yeah, Rosor, I'm going to say. Will provide access to an anima diverter within Korthia, where anima can be directly deposited. So what this means is anima that you've gained on Korthia, you'd obviously have to take back to your Covenant and talk to the anima dude where you store it into your anima reservoir. Well, no longer you can do it in Korthia, because you get a lot of stuff in Korthia that you just have to hoard in your bags. So you can just deposit straight from there, and it's just a nice quality of life change really over everything else. This one I find sort of a dark horse, to be honest, of the patch, and that is transmog linking. So this one's really fun. You can show off your complete transmog outfits to chat or online by easily sharing a link from your dressing room, from your transmog dressing room, and players will be able to mouse over the items to see how they can be collected, pretty much, and to see if they've already collected the appearance, or if it's not sort of accessible to that character, or if it is, that kind of thing. So it's really cool, because I see a lot of people with fun transmogs, quite cool transmogs, silly transmogs, and I think, oh, that's a nice piece of gear. I might not like the entire transmog, but I might like a certain aspect of it. I might like the robe that they're wearing. I might like the funny hat. I might like the chef's hat that some people have. I know a dude who walks around Oribos in chef's gear, literally in a chef hat, an apron, and some white trousers and stuff like that. He has a frying pan in his hand. And, just how do you look like that? Where did you get this stuff? It's quite funny to, just see. And it's also quite a nice way to build up your knowledge of how to acquire these items within the game, instead of going to Google, typing in the item, finding out, oh, it's from this boss that, I don't know. All right, so where is this boss and stuff like that? You can just see it in-game. You don't have to alt-tab or anything, and it makes it really easy and accessible. So I think this one's quite a dark horse, because a lot of people take pride in their appearance and transmogging their gear. So I think that this one's going to be quite fun. Now, this is also very, very good for the patch. I heard this one back months and months ago, and this is what made me really excited for the patch as well. The alt leveling improvements, apparently. So there's going to be a variety of improvements that will introduce and support the leveling experience and make it a more smoother leveling experience for alt characters. And what this is basically you can rank up your heirlooms to a certain level now. It might be 60 or maybe like 55, something like that. There's been improvements to the threads of fate, such as you can do Torghast and as an option. And when you do Torghast, you gain renown for completing bonus objectives as well. So you're essentially gaining endgame content with your renown whilst leveling, which is such an improvement of life, because you'd slug through 10 levels and then suddenly you're renown 2. Don't know how you got the extra one there, but you've got the extra one. You're renown 2, and you've got to slug about 70 renown just to be up to date, or at least near enough up to date, and your character's decent enough to do anything in terms of like PvP or high-end mythics, stuff like that. So the Torghast is going to be interesting. I want to see the sort of leveling experience that you can get there. Maybe you could sell boosts for Torghast. That's going to be fun to see. Maybe Torghast is the worst way to level and you might just want to go back to doing bonus objectives. Maybe it's the best way to level. You can just absolutely fly through, get your Soul Ash, get your Legendary as well. It's to be seen right now. The numbers might not be as accurate as they want it to be, but we'll find out very soon, I'm sure. PvP gear is also getting adjusted. So lower item level PvP gear will now scale to higher item level in PvP situations than before. And this should reduce the power level when a new character is just hit the max level, and it means that you can be ready for arenas more quickly and stuff like that. And this won't affect any sort of the high item level PvP gear, so the conquest gear, but the honor gear will be significantly better. So instead of being 30 item levels down, you'll only be, say, 10 item levels down instead, something like that. So it isn't as much of a slugfest just getting that gear in the first place, because it would take weeks to gear up these characters, to just lose and lose and lose arena after arena just to get 35 conquest after one win in 5. And it wasn't fun. So hopefully the power adjustment of the PvP gear is enough so that when you hit 60, you can just hop straight into an arena and you don't feel like you're going to get absolutely slapped just by one rogue pressing ambush or something like that. It's going to be stupid. Rune carving recipes are also changing a little bit. So the rune carving recipes and the drop rate for them is now increased to 100% in any dungeon difficulty, which is smart, to be honest, because some people might have their best legendary at the end boss of Sanguine Depths or whatever, and it's not a guaranteed drop, which is infuriating compared to someone who has it, from a world quest or something like that, and it's a guaranteed drop after you've done the world quest. So I can see how this is infuriating. I can see how this would be a lot smarter of a change, to be honest. This one just makes sense and should have been in the game from the very start, or the very start of the expansion, I should say. And finally, Battle for Azeroth Legacy loot. So with 9.1.5, people are starting to get to the point where your item level, will be able to solo Battle for Azeroth raids, like the later raids. So, the Battle for Dazara Lore, you have, oh my god, the Eternal Palace, is it? I've forgotten the Nazjatar raid. Oh my god, it's with Azara and stuff. I completely forgot. And stuff like the N'Zoth raid and Ny'alotha and all of that. So what they're doing is, if you don't know what legacy loot rules are, but basically what it means is that you can get more gear from the raid, pretty much. So this is the official, what it says. Legacy loot rules will be enabled for players at level 60, and what this does is it causes encounters to drop the number of items as they would randomly drop for a 5-man dungeon party or a 20-man raid. So, in a sense that, there'll be 3 to 4 maybe pieces of gear. Basically, you're not getting just one piece of gear. You're getting multiple, so you can get more transmog, you get more chance of a mount, you get multiple different things. So this is, again, for the collectors who want to do stuff like, island expeditions, get toys from raids, get old transmog and stuff like that. And, just loads of quality of life stuff that are coming within the patch. So it's nothing too crazy. The patch is very much needed, I think. It might be a breath of fresh air, everyone hopping back onto Switch Covenants constantly, everyone trying out some new things in Mythics, because you were very restricted. It's hopefully going to be a breath of fresh air that everyone needed, and, a bit more freedom in the game with the Covenants and stuff like that. People might come back. The Mage Tail will definitely be a selling point to most people. That's the thing. Most people will come back just for the Mage Tower. I certainly would, and I know a few other people might do as well. Hi there, Warcraft fans. It's just me again. Wanted to thank you for your time in listening to this week's podcast. I love making these for you all, and I couldn't be happier in doing so. Seeing the downloads go up and up each week is amazing. You can show your support more by something as simple as rating this episode, or by dropping me a question via email that I can answer in a later podcast. To take it that extra step further and really show that you love the content that's being produced, you can check out the Pig and Whistle Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee page. Either of these would be a massive help to continue what I'm doing right now for you guys. Thank you all very much for your time, and go with Valor, friends.